Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Wednesday, the 15th of June. I'm Derek Clark, and I'm joined by a full squad this morning. Johnny McFarlane, how are we doing, Johnny?
Good, mate. Good. Glad to be here. Great to see Josh's young, happy face. Smiley. Not seen him for quite a while, so I feel like I miss him a little bit.
Yeah, Josh has had a couple of days off this week. Are you feeling refreshed, Joshua? Not like you need it right enough. You're just back from a holiday, you know?
No, I've been taking a bit of stick for my holidays in the summer, but no, good to have the full content. It's been a while, hasn't it, since we've all been on? I think it's been probably since before Johnny's holiday, before my holiday. So, no, pleasure, Derek. Great to be at work. Great to be here.
Always is, absolutely. And before we talk all things Rangers, folks, just a bit of housekeeping. First of all, you can see the ticker below you. We've got that great offer on the website just now. It's just £2.99, of course, per month. But if you sign up now, you get the first month absolutely free. So you can go and check it out and see if it's for you. I'd very much urge you all to do so. It's rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe. And as you can see on the screen as well, the One Football app, it's our sponsor for the Rangers Review. It's your one-stop shop for all your footballing needs. Basically, you can keep up to date with all the latest goings on from Ibrox. Lots of Rangers Review content on there. You can keep up to date with fixture lists and the opposition as well. You can keep abreast of all that's going on, not only in Scottish football, but further afield across the border, down south in the Premier League and what have you, and across the pond in the continent as well. The good news is it's totally free. It won't cost you a penny, and it's available for iPhone and also Android users. So it's a One Football app, folks. Do go check it out. Okay, let's talk all things Rangers, chaps. I was going to say not a lot happening, but there has been an interview given by Glen Kamara in his homeland in Finland, of course, away on international duty. He's talking about his time at Rangers. I'll just run through a couple of comments that he mentioned. And he says, when I played against Rangers at first, I thought the level was good, but I wanted to go to England because the level is even better. He then says, but when I came to Rangers, I realised that the level is really high and that this is the best place to develop. I would never say that I wouldn't go and play elsewhere in Europe. I would like to play in the Premier League, but if there was somewhere else that would be good for me, I would go there. A lot of my friends have come to Rangers to watch games. They say they've been to Manchester United, Arsenal, Liverpool or Everton, but you can't get this atmosphere anywhere else. If we win, we can go anywhere, but if we lose, we should probably stay at home. At this club, you have to win every match against anyone. If we're playing against Real Madrid, the fans would say, come on, you have to win. It's pretty cool. Glen Kamara, Johnny, I think he had a sort of up and down season last term. He's one of the players that it's not a priority to get him signed up on a longer term deal. Some nice words there with regards to playing for Rangers and the pressure and what have you. I think at one point he is going to leave for pastures new. Do you think it could be this summer?
I'm not sure, Derek. I don't think there'll be a mass of players going out the door from Rangers this summer. And when you look at the contract situation, you can't imagine that Glen Kamara would be a priority because these other players that have got a year left. And this is something we've talked about over and over, and I think we'll continue to talk about on this video. Rangers' priority is sorting out those players with 1 year left. And for example, just to throw something out there, I don't know if this is happening, nobody does, but if Ryan Kent and Alfredo Morelos sign new deals, I think then all of a sudden it becomes incumbent on dealing with Joe Aribo, and potentially there might be another one that's moved on. It could be Glen Kamara. But I don't think, for example, if there isn't a new deal with Morelos and Kent and Aribo, and all three of those are moved on at some stage in the window, I don't think you would then also move on Kamara. You don't want that level of disruption, do you? But as with everything in life, as with everything in the transfer market, it's all about where the interest is, guys. So I think if somebody comes along and says there's 15 million quid for Glen Kamara, then I don't think he's going to remain at Rangers. It's as simple as that. But I think you would want to minimise that level of disruption.
Yeah, absolutely. Before I come to you, Joshua, just this comment from James McInnes, one lines, any words in a Rangers review app, it would go down well. I think that's something that in the pipeline in the future, Johnny, that we would love to get something like that sorted.
It is in the pipeline. They are working on it. We have acquired a company that have a top class cutting edge app, and the technical boffins at the moment are looking at how to integrate that with the Rangers review. So 100%, James, something that has been worked on. I can't give you a time frame. It is a sort of a process, and involves quite a lot of people working away in the background, but 100% something that we're looking at.
Yeah, good to have Derek Gray on as well. He says, no meetings until 11 a.m. today. So good to have your full attention, Derek. Joshua, Glen Kamara for you last season. What do you make, first of all, of his comments, speaking about playing for Rangers? In last season, for me, there was spells where it looked like the Glen Kamara of the 55 season, especially in Europe. Everyone remembers his goal against Leipzig and the build-up for the opening goal as well for James Tavernier playing in Ryan Kent. I thought the final he was good as well. I thought he made a difference when he came on in the Scottish Cup final also. Do you think he's got a big part to play next season?
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a unique situation, isn't it? Because if most people were to choose their starting 11 for domestic games and say you've got that Jack Lundstrom midfield pairing, although we don't know really what Gio will do with his midfield next year, not many people would pick Kamara over Aribo at number 10. I don't think Kamara necessarily has enough of a goal threat to kind of be Rangers number 10 domestically. But you're right, in certain games, I think he did that really well. I think in the Scottish Cup final, I think we spoke about it at the time he played in our field. Played close.
I think we've just lost Joshua there.
Yeah, Josh's Wi-Fi has gone rogue.
Yeah, put 50 pence in the meter, Joshua.
Me, I think. Sorry, that's the office. That's the office Wi-Fi. That's not my Wi-Fi. If it goes again, you can just cut me off. But I think you need to get him deeper in the midfield for me. You need to work a resolution to play him a little bit deeper in the pitch, because I just don't think... I think when he plays higher out the pitch, it's not necessarily that his attributes aren't suited to that, but it's more that he's only involved in a little bit of the game. And I think what Glen Kamara can be so good at is getting the ball into the final third. I think it'll be interesting to see if Van Bronckhorst works with him, because he's got so many attributes, being press resistant and so hard to kind of get the ball off him. Sometimes I think he needs to move the ball quicker and do these little intangibles. I was watching him for Finland against... can't remember, I want to say Montenegro. And sometimes I just want to scream at Kamara to fizz the ball a bit quicker, because he can be a bit lackadaisical. And it'll be interesting to see with Van Bronckhorst, with players like Kamara. We've seen him do it with Roy Mackay work with players and how well that's worked so far. He can kind of mould it.
Okay, Josh, I'm going to take the executive decision here. Go away.
Yeah.
It's over for you, mate. It's over. Had your chance. Your Wi-Fi is rotten.
Yeah.
So go and plug in on and then come back to us, mate, because this is unusable. I've just absolutely mercilessly removed Joshua from the stream. Poor lad.
Quite right too.
Up in the office there, but...
He's absolutely frozen there. But we'll carry on, Johnny.
He's talking sense. However, it's intermittent, isn't it? So
yeah. We can't listen to that, unfortunately. I love this comment from Ross. He says, I only refer to Glen Kamara as Kamaradona, a fantastic player. So he's in no doubt that he wants him to stick around. I think he's got a big part to play myself next season.
Can I just come back on that, Derek?
Yes,
I totally agree with him about the speed that Kamara plays the ball. I think that's a huge factor. You look at John Lundstrom when he first came in. The one thing that was obvious about John Lundstrom as an attribute, other than his physicality, was he had this lovely ability to rake the ball really quick, really low, no backlift from one side of the pitch to the other, and move the ball quickly, and you're thinking to yourself, that is a really, really good skill and something we've not really seen too often. And if you're playing against the low block, you need to disrupt that block. And the way to do that is to move the ball quickly. So I think that's something Glen Kamara has in his locker, but he needs to be encouraged to do more often, especially when you're playing against the lower lights of the Premiership, where they will sit in and try to frustrate you. And they're quite right to do that as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's something Glen Kamara needs to do if he wants to be a key part of this team. We know that GVB likes the physicality. We know he's looking for a mix of play. Wants sometimes to go direct if that's on, sometimes to pass through if that's on. And I think Kamara needs to speed things up a little bit on a more consistent basis.
Yeah, I totally agree. There's times when he looks fantastic, as 55 King says, when he is quick. He's such a fantastic ball player. But it'll be interesting, like many other players, if big bids come in, then there's conversations to be had. That's for sure. Let's move on, because Joe Rebo is tweeted about his season, Johnny. He says he's posted 4 pictures of him playing for Rangers. Grateful to have played 70 games this season. I just want to thank God for getting me through it. A season of full of ups and downs, but unforgettable memories were created. Can't wait to get going next season. Thank you to all the fans for your continued support. 70 games is an incredible amount for an individual football player. I think I've gone on record in saying, prior to heading off with Nigeria for the African Cup of Nations at the turn of the year, Johnny, he was the best player in Scotland by far and away. He came back, he looked jaded. I'm not too sure if that was much more of a mental thing than anything else. He was in dire need of a rest, and you can't play 70 games each season, can you? So hopefully he's resting up. I know he's away with Nigeria as well. He was an unused substitute in their 10-0 win recently, but I'd want him rested, get him recharged for next season, albeit get him in behind, get him signed up in the new contract, because he's one of the players entering into his final year of his deal.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely certain. Sorry, Derek, you sort of you broke up there. Who were you talking about?
Oh, sorry, Joe Rebo.
Joe Rebo, yeah, sorry.
His tweet yesterday. The way he's worded it, Johnny, it suggests that he's obviously going to do that. He's coming back. He's going to play for Rangers next season. But he's one of those entering into the final year of their deal.
Yes.
If an offer comes in, Rangers seriously have to think about it if he's not going to sign an extension.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Joe Rebo, first of all, Derek, unbelievable Iron Man, as Derek Gray's saying. Yeah. 70 games. I've got to say, I actually think that's too many. That's just not right, really, for a player to be playing that level of games. No. You can't keep doing that. It shows you, obviously, his physicality and what he can do. But that is a remarkable amount of games. I've never heard of that volume of games. I know Callum McGregor across the city has played in the 60s quite a few times, but to get into the 70s, it's just incredible. Yeah. And I think one of the things that you would want to do with a Rebo, to be honest, is to have that kind of depth in that area that he was maybe he was playing 55 or 50 rather than 70, because he has looked jaded at times, and you can understand it given that volume of workload that's going to be put on his plate. Listen, I think Joe Rebo's a terrific player, Derek. I would like to see him stay at Ibrox. I think there's times when he can flatter to deceive. There's times when he doesn't quite fulfill the full level of his talent. I don't think he is a player like Ryan Kent, a player like Alfredo Morelos, like a Connor Goldson, like a James Tavernier, who delivers all the time. I don't think he's at that level. But he's got all the talent in the world, and he absolutely could be if he puts it all together. The question, I think, with Joe Rebo, I don't know what you think, Derek, but I'm still not 100% sure what his position is. I think he's such a talent, he can play anywhere. We can see that he can play as a false 9, he can play on the right-hand side of midfield, he can play in centre mid, he can play as a 10, he's played at left back. This is a guy that can do pretty much anything, but I think that's almost slightly to his detriment that he's never had a consistent run in one position.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's an interesting one. I know the comment came in there, says when he came back, he was well off it, and I totally agree with that. He's another one that sort of came back into his own at the tail end of the season, but I think he was playing more so on adrenaline than anything else, Joe Rebo. 70 games, you don't want to see that for any player, to be honest. I think the international games really affected his season for me. I mean, this international break, Johnny, it seems to have been going on forever. I think that's at the end of it now, thankfully, and players can get a half an hour rest before they come back for pre-season, it looks like. But hopefully, I mean, there's a comment came in saying that if they had a bit of a rest at the second half of the season, Darren makes an interesting point. If he's able to soldier through 70 games, imagine how impressive he could have been in the second half of the season had he been rested now and again. I couldn't agree more with that comment there. So Joe Rebo tweeting about playing 70 games. It's absolutely incredible. Let's move on. There's another comment coming in. There was a comment coming in regarding Januzaj Hadži. Johnny, now his dad has been speaking on his recovery. He's told a Romanian media outlet, I'll just quote what he said here. He says he still has a career of 10 to 15 years ahead. He has to work, sacrifice and dedicate himself. We don't know what it will be recovery time, but he is very dedicated. He represents us very well outside. Rangers are very happy. He's not on vacation now. He has a recovery program. He has his physiotherapists, and I go with him all the time. Everything is planned. He's a player, and I think there was a piece yesterday on the website, Joshua, from Craig Vickers about Hadži. Rangers need him back, don't they? Because he's a vital component and someone they so badly missed in the second half of last season, albeit he was off the boil at the start of the season before he got injured. Yeah,
it's a really interesting piece, and it showcases how Januzaj Hadži's numbers improved after Giovanni Van Bronckhorst took over, despite the fact that many people thought his form, I think us included, wasn't terrific in that sort of right-hand side midfield role. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst was still tinkering, I think, with what he wanted from the team and trying to make sure that it was maximised what he was getting. I think it's going to be interesting to see how he's actually embedded back in once he gets back to fitness. I'd like to think that Januzaj Hadži will be used as a 10, because that's undoubtedly where he's at his best. When he's shunted out onto the right wing, for me, he just doesn't give you what he gives you when he's more central, because he's got that wonderful two-footed quality where he can take the ball in kind of any situation. Very, very good in terms of not giving the ball away, and great shot, both feet. I think if you get him central, you're going to get more goals. He's got that ability to ghost into space. The problem that Januzaj Hadži has, he's still kind of like, I think he's 23, a young player who's yet to find that ability to really put a dominant stamp on a game. Like his father had this ability where he would be the main man in the whole game. You know, the guy who takes the game by the scruff of the neck. And Gorgie had that. And I think Januzaj that's something like Joe Rebo a little bit that he needs to develop, like something that James Tavernier has, for example. Even though he's at right back, he can grab the game by the scruff of the neck. So I think that's a key to his future, becoming a more dominant player, improving his numbers, especially at this level, to get to where he wants to go in his career, because there's no doubt that he wants to go higher than Rangers, and he has the talent to go higher than Rangers. Perhaps not a bigger club, but certainly a bigger league. And you would hope that Januzaj Hadži would be one that Rangers could make a really big profit on. He's got 2 years left on his contract still, Derek. I'd like to see some movement on that to get him tied down maybe for another 2 years on top of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Jock makes a good point, Johnny. He says, happy haircut, Johnny.
Yes.
So there you go. That's
getting this sorted out, this thatch that I call. Well, a haircut is probably taking it a little bit too far, isn't it? It's just kind of short back and side, some traditionalist.
Well, Andrew says, although he spelt your name wrong, he says, did the wife give you a wee trim?
No, it was a professional hairdresser, actually.
The wife actually gave me a trim when we were in lockdown, which she did a decent job, to be fair. I had a Sean Deitch for a period of time when we were in lockdown, which was...
One thing that I got, Derek, which I don't normally get, which I'd be interested to know if anyone else has this. I got my ears waxed, because it's one of the things that people don't tell you about becoming an old bugger, is that you start to sprout hair out your ears. It's a horrible thing that happens in your sort of late 30s, or certainly happens to me. And it's very unsightly and disgusting. And so you've got to sort of deal with it. So what they do is they pack wax into your ears. They let it dry, but then, oh my God, mate, there's the moment of truth. You know, they've got little sort of cotton buds stuck into it. So then it hardens and it's just like ripped out.
Wow.
And it does a terrific job of getting rid of that old man here, but my God, it is painful, mate.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments, folks, if you had your ears waxed. And what was the experience like? I've got to say, I've not had it done myself, but I look forward to it not. Let's move on, Johnny, because people are tuning in to talk about Rangers. Another bit of news that emerged yesterday afternoon. When Rangers go to play St Mirren, the allocation, the buddies have reduced the allocation. It means that the home side take all 3 stands. They'll retain all 3 stands for the visit of Rangers and Celtic when they come to Paisley. It's thought that reducing that away allocation for the matches could cost them up to £100,000 in lost ticket revenue. That's a lot of money for a team like St Mirren, is it not? But
it is, mate. But you know what? It's absolutely their prerogative.
Yeah, totally agree.
And I would never criticise them. They're entitled to look after their own fans. Their own fans are upset at having being moved. I think Motherwell have done it. Am I right in saying that? And I think that it's been
Johnston
a successful move.
Was it St Johnston had done it?
Pretty sure Motherwell did it, and I think it was a successful move for them. And they started to get more fans back for these games, and they just felt that the atmosphere was more conducive to their own side, and that's fair enough. You do think it's sad to see that money going out of the game, and that's a big amount of money. But you know, you can't criticize. It's their decision. It's their decision to give away the two sides of the ground, and it's their decision to take it back. Now, what you wouldn't want to see from a TV point of view, I think, is if that ultimately leads to kind of more empty seats. It's great to see those packed stands behind the goals. But I find that I'm not going to go in too fitted on St Mirren. I think they're more than entitled to make their own decisions about their own club.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's their prerogative, but it's just unfortunate if you're usually head over to Paisley. It's not a long away day by any stretch of the imagination. I think it's the closest one to Ibrox, of course. So, St Mirren reducing the allocation, so Rangers will just have the one stand, the away stand for that game.
Now, listen, on that, the guy did suggest that to me, Alan. He did suggest that, and I thought, that's another level. That's taking it too far. I could sense that would be a nightmare. And Dave Fulton's backing that up. He said it's nothing. Having your nostril whacked is another. No, I'm not going to test that one out, guys. That is hardcore.
You need a bit of hair in there, do you not? I mean, is that not good in your nose? A wee bit of hair in there, is that not?
Yeah, but not too much, mate. Again, as you get older, it starts to sprout.
Okay.
It's not good. You're too young still to understand the horrors that await you. As old father time starts to catch up with you. Derek, amongst this hilarity about waxing, there was a one here from Chris Zorro on Bas Dost on a free. Now, we like to play a bit of Football Manager here, and obviously this isn't really much of a... I'm not going to say that we're scouting experts. We have scouting writers on the website that do our scouting for us. But, we've highlighted this situation with Jermaine Defoe. Yes. And I'm going to put this guy to you because you did an excellent piece on the website the other day looking at potential free transfers. And there's tons of them out there. There's so many high-quality players available on a free this summer. Guys who are in their mid-30s who could come in and fill that sort of Jermaine Defoe third striker role at Rangers. And here's another one, although I suspect he might not be looking for a third striker status given his goal record. Now, Bas Dost is a 33-year-old, 6'5" Dutch target man. He has scored goals at an incredible level wherever he's been in his career. Apart from the Netherlands, he's got 18 caps for Holland. He's only scored 1 goal for them, so it's never really taken off for him. But he started off his career at FC Emmen, 6 goals in 23, which got him a move to Heracles. He got 17 in 61. So far, so normal. But then his career absolutely accelerates when he goes to Heerenveen. He goes 45 goals in 66 there, which gets him a move to Germany and Wolfsburg. Big money move. Scores 1 and 2 there, 85 games, 36 goals. Gets him another move to Sporting. Now, this is 2016. Absolutely hammers it in Portugal, mate. 76 goals in 84 games. Moves back to Germany with Frankfurt. 12 goals in 36. And then in 2021, moves to Club Brugge, where he's got 21 and 45. his career has his contract has just come to an end, and he is available now. Again, we're playing Football Manager here, but 6'5" goal scorer on a free. Does that sound interesting?
It does to me, Johnny. The fact he's Dutch as well sort of fits the sort of narrative as well. He would work well, you'd imagine, with the likes of Roy Mackay and Giovanni van Bronckhorst. If he's on a free and the wages are affordable, why not? I think I've went on record in saying Rangers need at least 2 forward players, goal scorers, this summer. They were running on empty at the end of last season. Having no available out-and-out goal scorers at the end of the season was difficult. Of course, the players put in a heroic effort to reach the Europa League final and came mightily close without a recognised striker. It would have been something quite incredible if they went on and won that final as well without someone like a Morelos or a fit and firing Kemar Roof. They need someone that can come in and do the business domestically as well. And I think you mentioned there he's an absolute unit. I think he's got the physicality to do well in Scottish football. You just wonder if he'd be happy sitting on the bench a lot of the time, because we all know that Alfredo Morelos, if he's fit, will be the man leading the line. But certainly on a free, and if it fits within the wage structure, I'd be tempted to give him a contract, yes. But like you say, Johnny, there's so many experienced pros like that are available on a free this summer. There'll be clubs sniffing about them, offering them contracts, and I'm sure Rangers will be looking at improving that forward line. But I certainly think an experienced striker within the squad, like a Jermaine Defoe, would be hugely beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd imagine that they'll be all over Bas Dost, given that. Yeah. He's Dutch, a Dutch international, 33 available. On a
great name as well. I love that name. It's not a name you hear every day, is it?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Name, I suppose that'll depend on how Roy Mackay rates him. If Roy Mackay thinks he's a top class player, then I'm sure there'll be someone that they'll be looking at. But again, Bas Dost is only 33, and he may feel that given he scored 21 goals in 45 games for Club Brugge, that he's still good enough to lead the line for someone for 35, 40 games a season. You're not going to get that at Rangers. I don't think, with Alfredo Morelos and Kemar Roof still there. We've got a comment here from Ross, who says Bas Dost would be good, but I'd rather save the wages for Bale's imminent contract. Which, of course,
that'll be an interesting one to see.
One that we need to think about.
That'll be interesting to see where he goes. I know that the big talk is Cardiff City. He doesn't need the money at the end of the day, Gareth Bale, does he? He's made his money. I'm not too sure if he can still do it at the top level in the Premier League. I think he is going to head back to the UK. I know there was talk about Rangers, given the fact that his pal Aaron Ramsey was there last season. I'm not quite sure he's going to be playing for Rangers next season, albeit it might be a great thing to think of. He's a Wales player, though. I mean, he keeps his best games for Wales, doesn't he, Johnny? It's incredible to think that. Helping them to World Cup finals as well. He and Ramsey, in fact, huge players for Wales. But it'll be interesting not only to see where Bale ends up, but Ramsey as well, of course, leaving Juventus.
I'm on live.
Coming in the background. I think that's our cue to wrap it up, Johnny. I think. Thanks to everyone for interacting.
Just got people in my house just coming in.
That'll do us here, folks. Thanks to everyone for interacting with the show as ever. It's very much appreciated. Apologies if we never got to your comments. Remember, we'll be back again tomorrow morning. But until then, enjoy the rest of your